In this episode, we are going to talk about Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has just been approved by NRA both as its chairman and its presidential candidate. My viewers are from across many countries, but this one is of importance mainly to my viewers in Uganda and my viewers in Kenya. NRA is where Canu was in 2002. Actually, the truth of the matter is that Kenya has matured politically very much that Uganda is trying to catch up. I want to transport myself to the viewers who are in Uganda. I want to tell you that is where Kenya was 2002. And my viewers in Kenya, I want to tell you that what Uganda is in politically is what was there in 2002 around. The first thing is that it becomes more like a comedy to see that Museveni goes and goes to the headquarters of NRM and gives us all his particulars. They check his things. They verify that he is a fully paid up member of NRM. They check and find that he is a registered voter in such and such a constituency or polling station. Then they do that and then they wait for another person from within NRM who is qualified and would want to contest for the presidency of Uganda under NRM. Where he is now, he has been approved by his party. Now, various political parties will approve their presidential candidate, and all of them will meet at the ballot paper, on the ballot paper. I say that this is like Kenya between 92 and 2022 for the following reasons. Before multi-party came to Kenya, we used to have only one party called KANU. And we used to have somebody called supervisor of election. The supervisor of elections, on the day of the nomination of the presidential candidate, he would go to, the one I found was Montgomery. He was an expatriate called Montgomery. Then he was replaced by a Kisi called Nyarangi. Nyarangi used to be a police superintendent. Then he became the supervisor of elections. When Nyarangi's term ended, that is when we had the new setup where at first we had ECK, Electoral Commission of Kenya, under Justice Zakayo Chesoni. So the supervisor of election would go to Uhuru Park and wait for announcements would go out for people, Canu members. Everybody was a Canu member. In those days, you could not differentiate Canu with the government. Actually, even the flag of Canu was more or less similar to the flag of the country. So they came up with this idea. You go there. The deadline was noon. So Moi would arrive at around 11, give out the papers, just the way it was being done to Museveni yesterday. He would give out the papers. The supervisor of elections would check everything and find Moi has everything. And by 11:30, Moi would be cleared. And then the whole of Uhuru Park would stay silent for half an hour. For half an hour, when they are waiting for any other Canu member to come and present his nomination. At the clock, when the clock hits exactly noon, the supervisor of election would stand up and say that Moi, or even earlier than him, Kenyatta, has been nominated as the sole candidate for the KANU, and because there was no other political party, then he would declare Moi, or earlier on Jomo Kenyatta, duly elected and opposed as the president of Kenya. Then the KANU candidate would go ahead to give an acceptance speech thanking Kenyans for having faith in him and electing him unopposed. I wonder if one would have opposed him, what would have happened? And the truth of the matter is that Kenyans did not freely do that. But no two things are exactly the same. No two things are exactly the same. But being nominated as an NRA candidate, it means that you automatically are the president. Why am I saying so? Well, to me, Uganda is a dictatorship. In any country where one political party gets over 60%, it is not very political mature. Look at South Africa. ANC gets over 70% of the votes. That one is not good. To me, I would rather, you see, South Africa, the number of ANC MPs are even higher than the number of NRM MPs in Uganda. But South Africa is more democratic. I think my opinion is that in South Africa, people have more faith. The choice of ANC is usually free will. But if you talk of Uganda, I think it is under Uganda, even the way they talk, it's more or less a military dictatorship. Where else do you find members of parliament who are military officers and they even participate in debates in parliament while dressed in military uniform? That is why I say Uganda is still a dictatorship, unlike South Africa, where ANC, although the, the popularity of ANC is sliding very fast, but any country where you have a majority of 60 or over from one political party, then democracy there is not vibrant. I would want, if you have gone so much, let it be 55. Let it even reach an extent that we just don't know which party is going to win in the next election. It even makes, take Kenya for example. Since the time when Ruto befriended Raila, you have seen uwajibikaji wake, what do we call uwajibikaji in English? His answerability to people has been reduced. He has reached to an extent that he just talks. People try to associate Ruto with with being a Kalenjin, and so behaving like Moi. But to my opinion, is that when he took Raila and Raila's followers, then he has started behaving like a one-party state. That is, it has nothing to do with his ethnicity. It has only to do with that having a solid, support from a person like Raila. That is there's nothing ethnic about it. It's just that having a person like Raila, he's now assured of a second term, and that is why he's behaving that way. But in a good democracy, the president or the party in power should always be placed on its toe so as to be answerable to the people. Uh, Another thing I would want to say, because I know I'm talking especially for people from two countries, Uganda and Kenya, and I'm talking to people of two generations, my generation and the Gen Z generation. During the Moi Kenyatta time or during the Kanu time, we had a position. You find that Nani Museveni has been nominated as NRM chairman, and then you find in Kenya chairman of a ruling party is a very junior person. It is this way. Uh, in Kenya, it was treasonable to call yourself president. In Kenya, it was treasonable to call yourself president. We now have the president of Law Society. We have a president of what? So many things. But during Kanu's time, Jomo Kenyatta himself banned anybody referring himself to president. He said the president in Kenya is only one president, whereby then the president of each organization, like the Law Society, they started calling him or her the chairman or the chairperson of this or that. So it was illegal in Kenya to be called a president unless you are the president of the republic. And then multi-party came, and during those days, Jomo Kenyatta and even Moi used to refer to themselves as the president of Kenya and the president of Kanu. But when multi-party came, other parties were refused to call their leaders president of the party. Then they started calling themselves chairman of the party. But then there was a chairman of the party, because the chairman of the party used to run the party from day to day. That is why the Kenyan political parties reintroduced the name president of the party, but gave it a different name. They gave it a name of party leader. Party leader. So in Kenya, party leader, there is a party leader, there is a deputy party leader or leaders, and then below the deputy party leaders, then we have the chairman. To me, it is like a senior chairman, deputy senior chairman, then vice chairman. But in Uganda, they just call it chairman. That is how now Museveni is. And another thing I've noticed, before I tell you what I've noticed, or could I say, I have noticed two things. The thing that I want to tell you, plus something that have come up. You know, Yoweri Museveni. Yoweri Museveni has three names. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. What many people think is that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has no Christian name. You are wrong. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's Christian name is Joel. Joel. Now, he decided to use it. The traditional way. In his vernacular, a person called Joel is called Yoweri. So kindly note that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is Joel Kaguta Museveni. The other thing I was talking about, it has to do with the son. I usually refer to the son as Muhoozi. It causes a lot of comments. His name is Muhoozi Kanyarugaba. Muhoozi. But I call it Muhuni deliberately. You know, Ugandans are poor in the language of Swahili. They think that when I say Muhuni, they think that I'm mispronouncing. Just like very many people cannot pronounce my name Huatenge. I've grown up knowing people calling me Kwatenge, Kwatenge, without a H. So people who are not of my ethnic group may have a problem pronouncing my name properly. So some Ugandans think that when I call Joel Kaguta Museveni, I call his son at Muhuni, they say that I'm unable to pronounce Muhoozi. I'm unable to pronounce Muhoozi. I'm calling him Muhuni because he's a thug. Yeah, actually in Swahili, the name Muhuni is a thug. Now, many people may say, you know, he has very many caps. He's a prince, first son. And two, he's a first son, and he's also the CDF. So some Ugandans may ask me, how do you feel if we were to call your CDF Muhuni? Well, I will not talk about the CDF in his Kenyan CDF in his capacity as a CDF. Neither will I talk about the Tanzanian CDF in his capacity as a CDF. First of all, I even don't know who is the Tanzanian CDF. But let me tell you, look at the Tanzanian CDF, whoever his name is. Look at the Kenyan CDF. Apart from being quoted in their official capacities as CDFs and doing this and this, have you seen them talking rubbish the way the way Muhoozi talks? How he's going to invade neighboring countries, how he calls the fellow generals that he's going to take them behind his father's back and something like that. He doesn't he doesn't respect his position. If he doesn't respect his position, why should I respect him? If he doesn't, you know, there are some things. While we were cadet officers, we were being told that when we are drunk, we can behave and misbehave the way we are. But when recruits are around in college, we behave like officers. So, uh, him with the generals, when they are behind the curtains, they can behave and misbehave the way they would want. But out in the public, he should not behave like a Gen Z all the time on Twitter. That is why I've been referring to him as a Muhuni. The second thing I was saying that I noticed about Muhuni or Muhoozi Kainerugaba is that, sorry, I have a sore throat, is that for quite some time, he has been campaigning, actually, even against the tenets of his office. He has a pressure group that has been campaigning for him to be the next president. Now, with the events that are happening now, it means that with the father being the president for the next 5 years, then it means that he will not, he will have to put his campaigns in the cooler for the next 5 years. But then there's a comment I made about Tonje rules, and somebody told me that Uganda also follows Tonje rules. I will comment it in the comment section. I want to know when Kainerugaba became the CDF. Up to now, you know, nobody talks of when he will retire, isn't it? I want to know which CDF was in Kenya when Kainerugaba became the CDF in Uganda. And I want to count the number of CDFs in Kenya who have been there during his tenure as a CDF. Bearing in mind that the current CDF in Kenya is retiring next year. And if Kainerugaba has to be the CDF for the next 5 years, it means that he is going to outlast 2 more CDFs in Kenya. With that, do you want to tell me that Kainerugaba is following the Tonje rules? Maybe another Tonje. but not the former CGS of the Kenyan military. Thank you.